to talk about opportunities for you guys and how you're going to use this thing to hopefully find your first great job out of school. But then also we're just going to talk about your personal brand and how you've got to manage your personal brand and how important that is. Because what's so interesting about this word personal brand is if you think about, if you go up to your grandpa or grandma or even your parents at Thanksgiving and say, hey, Grandpa, what was your personal brand? And they'll look at, what? What are you talking about? I was a welder and harness figure for 35 years. What are you talking about? And that's what you'll get from most people his age and your parents' age, because most of the time they've had jobs for a long, long time. The same job, same company. You think that's going to happen to you? I think things are different. Things are very different now, aren't they? People, these 35-year jobs where the company says, you're good, you just stay in that seat for 35 years, I'll get you a big fat pension, you'll be just fine. Those days have changed, both from the company standpoint and then ultimately from the employee standpoint, because we go, listen, if you're not going to commit to me, I'm going to keep looking around too. Maybe something will be better or whatever. You guys will have 7 or 8 or 9 jobs in your career. Where Grandpa had 1 probably, maybe 2. That's what's changed. And so that's why a personal brand is more and more important, because now it isn't just welder and harness figure. It's I'm a CPA in the Milwaukee area. I've had 7 or 8 jobs. I've progressed this way. This is the brand I stand for. And secondly, back then they didn't have any way to get their personal brand out into the world. Because stand on a corner and say, here's what I am. This is my brand. Don't you like me? But now we've got social media. We got all kinds of spots that people can find us. And believe me, people are finding you guys. Recruiters, HR people, they're looking at all your profiles. They're looking at your Facebook if they can get in there. They're looking at your Twitter account. They're looking to see if you're blogging. They're looking at your LinkedIn profiles for sure. So we're going to cover all that tonight. So really it's all about your personal brand and how we're going to use LinkedIn to hopefully help you do some specific steps so you can find that first great job out of school. I mean, I'd be nothing happier if I heard a bunch of stories from you guys that, Wayne, it worked. And I got some it worked stories for you tonight that I've heard from students. So let me start with a survey question. How many people have LinkedIn accounts? Raise your hand. Okay, not everybody. Frank, not everybody. Listen, man. Okay, so, and how of those of you who have LinkedIn accounts, how many have more than 100 first-level connections? Raise your hand. Nice, a couple. And how many have your profile done 100% as defined by LinkedIn? Okay, so for those who couldn't see behind you, only about 3 people said they had 100 connections, and only 2 said that they had their profile done 100%. I want you to write that down. I want you to write 100 plus 100, okay? Because now there's a handout online that you can grab if you don't have it or look at it on your computer or whatever. You'll need to get a hold of that handout because we're going to work through some of those things. But I want you to remember this, 100 plus 100. Why? Because that's how LinkedIn works. It's the rules of the game in order to be good at LinkedIn. You need at least 100 connections, and you need to have your profile done 100% as defined by LinkedIn. And you'll know why by the time we get to the end of this class. If you're walking around with your 25 connections and your profile's done 65%, not much is going to happen. Not much is going to happen. And you'll know why once we get through this class. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with how does LinkedIn work? And you guys, how many have Facebook accounts? Okay, like everybody. Okay, how about Twitter? Okay, you got half Twitter. Okay, great. Anybody with Pinterest? A few. That's good. Great. Anybody blogging? Yeah, usually that's not so much. Okay, how about Google Plus? Anybody into Google Plus? Okay, and isn't it sort of crazy? All of these things and like which one should I do or whatever? One thing I can tell you for sure is you better do LinkedIn. And the reason you better do LinkedIn is not because it has the most people on it. Because we all know which platform has the most people, don't we? Facebook. And it's got close to how many? Or over, just went over. Starts with a B, right? And anything with a B is big, right? 1 billion. Yeah, 1 billion people. LinkedIn has 187 million as we speak. 1 million new people every week join LinkedIn. 2 new people every second of the day. And why do I think it's so important for you? Because there's a really good chance that your future employer if they're on any social media other than trying to find their kids and their nieces and nephews, for business, they're on this site, and they're looking for you. They're looking for you. And they're going to hope you're there, and they're going to look at your profiles, and they're going to see how many connections. They're going to do all these things in amongst the other things they're going to do while they try to decide who to hire. So let's start with how LinkedIn works. Let me just make sure you guys get how LinkedIn actually works and what it was designed to do. Okay, this chart here is called network statistics. Now, you won't be able to get to this chart anymore. LinkedIn eliminated this chart just a couple of months ago. But I'll show you how you're going to be able to look at some of your own numbers. But I still like to use this chart because it sort of explains how LinkedIn works. So what's going on here with LinkedIn is the Kevin Bacon thing. Does anybody know what that means? Kevin Bacon thing. What's the Kevin Bacon thing? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah, what is it?
If you pick any random celebrity in Hollywood, they'll eventually move them back to Kevin Bacon through working on movies and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so the idea is there's connections with people, right? And Kevin Bacon will lead you to every other person in Hollywood. And then it even gets to the point where we can connect with everybody, and it's supposed to be like 6 degrees, right? What's interesting is Facebook came out last fall, a year ago, and said, it's not 6 degrees anymore. It's 4.75. So they say within 4.75 degrees, you can get everybody that's in the world, okay? And that's sort of what's going on with LinkedIn, this whole idea that you have friends, called connections on LinkedIn. They have friends, and they have friends. It's 3 degrees of connection. Okay? That's exactly what's going on. And the power of LinkedIn is that the relationships that exist between people are the power that are going to help you get that next great job. Because you'll be able to see people you know, who they know, and then who they know. So I'm going to start. Your first name is what? Steve. So Steve and I are really good friends. We've been good friends for a long time. Let's say even babysit my kids. Steve, hey Steve, I see you're in college. Yeah, great, yeah. I got to join LinkedIn, Wayne. Would you mind connecting with me? Oh yeah, sure, Steve, let's do it. You're a good guy. I have no problem with that. He said, because I'm supposed to connect with at least 100 people. And you're in the business. Oh yeah, do it. So the minute Steve and I connect, what happens? I get one more person at the first degree, and he gets one more too. Okay? Now, if Steve is friends with Daniel, and they're really good friends. They've been good friends for a long, long time. I don't know Daniel. I only know Steve. But if they connect on LinkedIn, guess what I get? I get a new person right there. Second degree. My second degree go up by 1. Daniel. Now, do I need to know Daniel? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. And then if Daniel knows Jake? Yeah. Daniel knows Jake, and they're really good friends, and they've been good friends for a long time. They decide to go on LinkedIn. I get a new person here at the 3rd degree, Jake. It's Jake, Daniel, Steve? Yeah. Steve? I always got to keep it, say it. Steve, Daniel, Jake. Steve, Daniel, Jake. That's what happens. Every time you add a new Steve, you get these guys. They come right along. So you don't sit back and go, I think I'll put this lady at a 3rd degree because I know her a little bit. You don't add 3rd degrees. You add just 1st degree people, and along with 1st degrees comes Daniel and Jake. Automatically. Every one of your firsts. So see why I want you guys to have 100 connections. It's a pyramid, right? It's a pyramid, right? So every time you add a first, you get the seconds and thirds, and that's where the fun's going to be. Because let's face it, if all I wanted to do was keep track of my Steves, do I need LinkedIn? No, I got Outlook, or I got this, or I got whatever to keep track of my friends. Fun starts where I can find out Steve knows Daniel, Daniel knows Jake. Okay, so let's see if you get this before I move on. If you add me today to your network, how many new 1st degree connections do you get? Hi! That's right, you'd have me, right? I'm your newest 1st degree connection. How about 2nd degrees? How many you get? How many? Yeah, you get 3,231. Thank you. How about 3rd degrees? How many 3rd degrees are you going to get? 682,000, just like that. How about 4th degrees? How about 4th degrees? How many 4th degrees are you going to get? Ah, somebody took the bait. You get 4th degrees on LinkedIn? No. Everybody wants the 13 million. Sorry, those are mine. Get your own. You can do it. See, that's the point. You don't get 4th degrees. But just the minute you connect with me, you got a chance to see who all my Steves are. Right? And you might need Daniel and Jake too. I don't know. We'll do some searching in just a second so you can see how that works. So think about it this way. Connections on LinkedIn are the gas in the tank. And if you walk around with 35 first-level connections, you're running on empty, my friends. Okay? So you got to fill that tank up. You got to get her to 100 connections. And I know what you're thinking. You're going, Wayne, Mr. Breitbart, are you kidding me? 100? How would I know 100 people? I'm still in college. Well, you got to go find all your friends' parents. Start there, right? And then think about just where you worked the past few summers. Look up people. Find them. There's a few tools on LinkedIn. We'll talk about them as we progress, about how you can find more and more connections. Because the winner of this game is going to be the person that has lots of what? Lots of Steves. That's how it's going to work. And I'll show you why that's going to be so important next. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little search. I'm going to show you the number one thing that LinkedIn's good for. And we're going to just pretend we're in a real life situation here, where you find a job at Johnson Controls. Okay? You apply for a marketing job at Johnson Controls in Milwaukee, right? And it could be an internship. It could be, as you're moving along here, your senior year. Okay, so you do that. You apply online or whatever they say. How many and it says entry level, right? So, entry level marketing. Any marketing majors here? Anybody? Okay, you got a few. So how many resumes you think they get? Entry-level marketing position at Johnson Controls in Milwaukee. Think they get 10 or 20? Oh, you can ask Frank. I think it's a few more zeros, isn't it? It's a few more zeros. I'm told it's several hundred, like 200-300. 200-300? How am I going to stand on a crowd of 200-300? That's the problem you got. The problem you got is, how do you stand out? And we'll jump into that in your profile and talk about how you make your profile stand out. But the first thing you're going to do is this. You're going to go to your LinkedIn account, and you're going to go, I sure wish I had a friend that worked at Johnson Controls. Now, why would I want to have a friend that works at Johnson Controls? Anybody have an idea? Why would I care about that? What could I do? Yeah, what? Yeah, what would you do? You just connect. What would you do after that? Just go, I hope by connecting something good will happen. Well, let's say your neighbor back home works in the marketing department at Johnson Controls. And you just applied for a job. Or the HR department. What are you going to do with that? Just sit back and hope that your resume moves from number 300 over here to the phone call list? Yeah. Yeah, so her idea was, what's your name?
Talia.
What is it?
Talia.
Talia. Good idea. She's going to leverage her relationship with her neighbor, isn't she? She's going to go, hey, Mr. Neighbor. Oh, how you doing, Talia? Well, I got this little issue. What's your issue? I just applied for a job, and I know I'm probably on this big stinking stack, and I don't know what else to do about it, but you work there, don't you? Oh, yeah, I work there. What do you want? Well, you know how good a worker I am. I babysat for your kids for summers. Yeah, you were a really good worker. I'll go in there and tell them. That's what you're trying to do, right? You got to leverage those relationships. If you sit on your hands and go, I hope that by just connecting something good will happen. You got to get aggressive. You got to get aggressive. And one of the things you do on LinkedIn by being aggressive is you just go look. You do a search. So let's do a search. So here's the step you'll take. So you'll go into your LinkedIn account, and you'll go up here to the corner where it says Advanced. Okay? Anybody ever been on this screen before? This is a really, really important screen. Here's what's going on with this screen. Steve, let's say you applied for that job, okay? Okay, what's your major?
Finance.
Finance. Steve's a finance major. Okay, so we're going to shift to the finance department just for you, okay? So when you click that advanced button, it's like Mr. LinkedIn just walked in the door. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Mr. LinkedIn, what are you doing here? Well, you called me. I did? How did I call you? Well, you click the advance button. Whenever somebody clicks the advance button, I just show up because I'm here to look for people for you. Well, Mr. LinkedIn, it's nice you're here. I did need you. Well, what did you need me for? I just applied for a job at Johnson Controls. Oh, so who you want to see if you know anybody in the HR department? Yeah, I think that's probably where my application is sitting right today. Okay, let's see. I don't know, Steve. I can't promise anything, but I got 187 million people. And maybe I do have some. We'll try. We'll give it a shot. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. That's how you got to think about it. You got to think about you got a best friend here in your world called Mr. LinkedIn, and they're going to help you. So, in the job title, current, in Milwaukee, company name, Johnson Controls. Oops, that wasn't good. What did I spell wrong? Something, right? Controls, right? So what does that teach you? Got to spell things right when you're searching, right? There's no close to. Okay, so I did better. Okay, Steve, I got some. Hey, nice job, Mr. LinkedIn. 82. 82 people are on LinkedIn, have the word human resources or HR somewhere in their current job title in the Milwaukee area, and they work at Johnson Controls. Whew, that's pretty nice, Mr. LinkedIn. Because you may not be as lucky as Talia and have a neighbor. You know, we all would, that'd be the best, but probably not going to be the case. But you can use LinkedIn to do just what we're looking for. So let's look at these people. Can anybody tell if I know any of these people, Karen, Roger, or Erica? Can anybody tell? Do I know them, Steve?
No.
I don't know. How do you know that?
They're second.
Yeah, so Steve says, you don't know them, Wayne. They're seconds. See that? That's what that means. Got the Kevin Bacon thing going on again, right? If it showed up as first, you probably wouldn't even need LinkedIn, would you? My neighbor. I'm connected to my neighbor. He works at Johnson Controls. I don't need LinkedIn. But most of the time we don't have that neighbor, right? So what we got going on here is, let's take a look at, does Karen have a nice title? You got a pretty nice title, I think. And so does Roger. But let's take a look at Karen. Take a look at this. By clicking shared connections. Who's Amy? Who's Amy? Do I know Amy? Yeah. Amy's my what? She's my friend. Amy's my friend. Steve, I got this friend here. Oh, good. Now what do? Talia, what do? Right? Hi, Amy. How you doing? Good to see you. How you been? How are the kids? How's this? How's that? What do you want? I want to meet your friend at Johnson Controls in the HR department. Her name is Karen. Oh, yeah, Karen, I know her really well. Okay, well, here's the situation. I'm one of 300. I don't like that spot. I like the spot to be in that little pile of people that are going to get the phone call. Oh, okay. So you going to do me a favor? Yeah, I'll help you. Because remember this, you're asking for a favor from your friend, but these people are friends. Friends are helping friends. Once you know who knows who. That's the whole power of LinkedIn, right there. It's like having these special little 3D glasses where you go, I wish I knew who all my friends knew, and then I wish I knew who their friends were. Because it's a pyramid. Pretty big numbers. Now, if you're walking around with 35 first-level connections, all proud of yourself, and you're supposed to get to 100, and you do this search, here's what's probably going to come up for you. You're going to get results that'll say, Director of HR, LinkedIn member, little blue nubby head. And you won't have any shared connections. Why? Because you can only get the seconds and thirds that come along with your firsts. So they're on LinkedIn, they have the right title, they work at Johnson Controls in the Milwaukee area, but you don't have the right to see who they are because they ain't close enough. They're at the 4th or 5th or 6th or 12th degree away from you. And they become somewhat invisible. Okay? So that's why you can see the winner of the LinkedIn game is the person that has lots of connections because it's the what? It's the gas in the tank. The other thing that helps you when you do a search like this is to be in a group with somebody. Because when you're in a group with somebody, you can look at some of their profile. Okay? So you should write that down too. It's 100 plus 100 and join groups. Because every group you're in with a person allows them to see you and you to see them. They go from LinkedIn member with blue nubby head into, hi, my name's Steve. I went to Whitewater. I want that job. Oh, I can see your profile, Steve. I looked at it. And the only reason we were because we're both in the Whitewater alumni group together. Wasn't that convenient? That was pretty convenient. Okay? So that's the strategy you got to come out with here, my friends. You've got to come out with a strategy to add a lot of connections and join groups. Now, do I want you to connect with that person? Has anybody, but let me ask you this, anybody been asked to connect with a total stranger? Like a total stranger, right? And you get that invitation, and it's from somebody halfway around the world, and you're thinking to yourself, huh? Why in the world does that person want me? And then when you get those invitations, it's when you think to yourself, maybe I don't know what's going on LinkedIn. If they want me, I don't want them. You're thinking to yourself, this is sort of silly. Well, they want you because that's their strategy and it works for them. Now, the reason that people want you as a connection, one or two things. Number one, they want your email address. Once somebody's connected you at the first degree, they get your email address and they want to start doing what to you? Spamming. Spamming you with whatever they're trying to pitch and sell. It's not what LinkedIn was designed for, but people do it that way. The other reason they might want to connect with you is because they'd love to have you in their little inventory and your friends in their inventory, and it's because their job is they're a recruiter. I mean, think about recruiters before LinkedIn. Before LinkedIn, every recruiter had to try to get on the phone, talk to all the accounting people in Milwaukee. They're specialists in accounting, and they'd have this little database, and it would be magical. And if a client called and said, I need a 3-year CPA guy or gal, you got any? Then they go in their little database. Ooh, I got one right here. Now they don't need that anymore. They got this. They got the largest database of business folks in the world ever assembled, 187 million strong, that they can use keywords and colleges to find people. Wonderful tool. But that's why recruiters want all of us. Because all we is to a recruiter is we's inventory. Now, so I'm not saying not connect to recruiters, especially if they're in your field. You find a finance recruiter and you don't have a job yet, it's okay. But understand what they're up to, why they want to connect with you, right? Because we are inventory to recruiters, and this is a great tool to gather inventory. Okay, nothing wrong with it, it's just that's what they're up to. But you have to decide who you're going to connect with. So here's the simple story behind that. Number one, if you know the person and trust the people, connect with them. No matter what they do, no matter where they work, know them and trust them. Add them. Now, let me ask you, let's say you get an invitation. Let's say you would like to work at Johnson Controls, and all of a sudden you get this invitation from somebody at Johnson Controls. And not in the finance department, but it's just, hey, look, somebody from Johnson Controls. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't really know that person. Probably shouldn't connect, huh? Wayne, what do you think? You guys are job seekers and would like to work at Johnson Controls. How many people, raise your hand if you think I would say you should connect with those people. Okay, raise your hand if you think you shouldn't. And the rest of you don't know. You should. If you're in the role of looking for a job and you look at their profile and you see they work at a company that you're interested in working for, and maybe even they went to Whitewater, when you're in job seeker mode, be a little more aggressive on who you're adding to connections, especially if they work for a company, they came to get you, right? They came and knocked on your door and said, hey, Steve, let's connect. And you're thinking, well, I don't know the person, but he works at Johnson Controls. Because the minute you add one connection at Johnson Controls, what comes with it? What comes with it? You think you've picked up any seconds at Johnson Controls? Why? Why do you think you did?
You just added him as your first degree friend.
Yeah, and he's connected to who?
His co-
All his co-workers, right? So it's sort of like having a mole, right? You got somebody on the inside. And just one person brings you usually a whole bunch of seconds from that company. Okay? Now that's a strategy for job seekers. Okay? Not a strategy for everybody, but it's definitely a strategy for you guys where you're trying to get exposure in some of the companies you're interested in working for. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go along. Okay. Let me tell you a little story about a student. 2 years ago, March. She's going to graduate in May. Senior. Very similar to you guys. Sees a job posted at Chico's. Anybody ever heard of Chico's? Ladies' clothing, right? You've seen the stores, right? Probably, right? Yeah, they're in some of the malls. It's usually for older ladies. But so she sees this job at Chico's. And she's an economics degree major, and it's a marketing job. Okay, it's not perfect for her major, but it's March now, right? She's graduating in 60 days. She likes fashion. So what does she do? She applies just like she should, like she wanted to, but then begins to search Chico's marketing department. It was in Fort Myers. Fort Myers, push the button. All of a sudden, there's the VP of marketing. She's not connected at the first degree, but at the second degree she's connected. She could look at this lady's profile and see everything about her, because you can see profiles of people at the second degree. So this student turns around, puts together a really nice package, FedEx, resume, letters of recommendation, LinkedIn profile, sends it directly to the VP of marketing, which, by the way, was not going to be her boss. It would be her boss's boss, right? Two rungs above. But she's just thinking to herself, hey, there's 300, right? I got to stand out somehow here. But I can learn from this lady's profile that she went to school in the Boston area too, and so did I. So I'm going to put in my cover letter, I went to a school in Boston too. I see her at Chico's now. Because you could learn that about somebody on their profile, right? She was looking for some commonality to sort of put in her cover letter. Something that would be a differentiator. Now, the FedEx alone is a differentiator, isn't it? You think all 300 people dropped her a FedEx? No. 20 bucks. 20 bucks, yeah. 20 bucks. But guess what happened? Do people usually open up FedExes no matter what? I don't care if you're the president or the vice president of a company. You get a whole bunch of mail usually, and you don't get many FedExes every day. You think she opened that up? Right away. Rip! Pull out the stuff. Read the cover letter. Went to Boston, that's pretty cool. Wonder how she found that. I saw on your LinkedIn profile you went to, I'd love to work for your company. I've already applied for this position. Now, she knows that she's hiring somebody 2 rungs down, but she's not even the first person, she's not going to interview you right away. The HR department's going to do that and bring her some candidates probably. She strolls over to the HR department and says, you got this girl's stuff in there? Her application? I don't know, there's 300 here. Well, I think you should interview her if she's in there. I'll call you. She calls back. I got her stuff here. She does look good. Well, good. Get her down here. Flies from Boston to Florida. Has an interview. Hired on the spot. Hired on the spot. Now, I'm pretty close to this story. I'm really close to this story. Because this was the student. I was one happy dad, right? My daughter got a job using LinkedIn, and I didn't really even teach her, but she read my book when we were in the proofreading phase, and she knew that she should have a profile, and she was learning, hanging around with me, but it wasn't specific that I said, you should send out this FedEx, honey. It'll really help you. I'm sure that it'll get you right to the boardroom. Okay? So she used the information she could get. And if you just step back and if you get nothing else out of today, I hope you get this. LinkedIn is the largest database of business professionals we've ever had, and your ability to go do some research and try to strategize on how you're going to make something happen. Now, if you think just having a nice profile and connecting with people and you're going to sit there and go, I sure hope they get a hold of me. I'm all ready. No, you got to take some steps. You got to differentiate yourself. She differentiated herself that day, didn't she? You bet she did. She differentiated herself. Okay? So that's how you got to be thinking. You got to think a little aggressively. So now you know how to do a search in case you can leverage a relationship with your friend. You also know how to search just for somebody's profile at a company, even if you don't know who their name is. Okay? So the two departments that you guys are interested in when you apply for a job is, one is HR, right? And one is the department where you're going to work. Right? Where you want that job, because somewhere along the way, that person department went to HR and said, we want a new marketing person, entry level. Run the ad, will you? Bring me some good candidates. That's how it works. So you want to see if you can find people in either of those two departments, the one you're going to work in or HR, to try to leverage that relationship. And remember, you're going to have to do a little work, right? You're going to have to do a little work to make this thing happen. It doesn't just happen by booting the computer up. Okay, cool. All right, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to move from the finding part of LinkedIn. It's where you proactively use Mr. LinkedIn and all his search criteria to find the right people, into you being found. Okay? And you being found is all about your what? What's it called on LinkedIn? Starts with a P. Profile. It's all about your profile, okay? So some people go, well, I'm on LinkedIn, Wayne, but I don't have a profile yet. Guess what? You have a profile. It stinks. If you don't even know you have one, it stinks. And that's where we got to get you guys thinking strategically about your profile, because people are using the profiles to find you, and they're using the profiles to decide between this person and this person and this person. Not just the profile, all the other stuff they get from you, but your profile is a great starting point where you can really do a good job of telling your story and making sure that you stand out and differentiate yourself from the pack. Okay, all right, so let's talk about profiles. Some of this will be in your handout. Now, here's what I want you to write down. You did the 100 and the 100, and you wrote down that you should join a lot of groups. We'll talk about groups just a little bit when we get close. But here's what I want you to write down on your profile. Keywords and stories. Keywords, stories. Keyword stories, keyword stories, keyword stories. Steve, what is it? Keywords and stories. It's keywords and stories. That's exactly what it is. That's what your profile is all about. Remember what LinkedIn is. It's just a stupid search engine for people. And we know how search engines work, right? Keywords are everything. So you got to think strategically about the keywords you want to put in your profile. Secondly, once somebody lands on your profile because you had the right keywords or somebody said check him out or her out, are you interesting? Like when they looked at Jenna's profile, they could tell they liked some of the things they saw on there. They thought she was interesting. That's what you're trying to get to, my friends. The story part of your profile is just the idea that this is just a big beauty contest. That's all it is. No different than laying out a whole bunch of resumes. They lay out those, they lay out a bunch of profiles, and they go, I'm trying to find the best one. Now just think if they got a phone call from their neighbor, and their neighbor said, my neighbor's resume's in there, and they're really, really good. You might get a chance to move into that other pile without having a great profile, maybe. But so many times, the person making the decision doesn't get that phone call. So now it's just a matter of reading the information and going, who do I think looks the best? I'm going to call these 10 people because they look the best to me. Now, if all you got up there is you went to Whitewater and you've got an accounting degree, Ugh. It's not that exciting. And I know what you're thinking, it sort of looks like a resume, doesn't it? And because it looks like a resume, you load up all your resume stuff and you go, guess I'm all done, huh? Hey, Frank, I loaded up all my resume stuff on my LinkedIn profile. I'm pretty good to go, huh, buddy? It's a good start. a good start. But if all you loaded on there, I went to Whitewater, I'm an accountant, and I do Excel. Oh, baby, you are pretty exciting stuff. That's really good. Yeah, Excel, that's going to get you places. Every accountant does Excel. I want to know, why are the accountant I should call? That's what I need to know, because I'm laying them all out here, trying to find the best ones. Like buying a car on Sunday afternoon. Sort of like that. Because isn't that the way people shop for everything these days? Isn't that the way we all start our shopping experience? Whether it's for a new TV this weekend on Black Friday, or whether it's for a new entry-level marketing person. We go online. And LinkedIn is one of those things that's going to jump out at people when they search for you, when they Google your name. Okay, so let's look at an example of a good student profile. First, I'm going to show you one here. Let's look at one that isn't. Well, let's see if you guys can come up with this. Here's a friend of mine. One of my daughter's friends. Mr. Grant. Funny thing about Mr. Grant is, I used Mr. Grant's profile a couple meetings ago, right here. I got in the truck that night. I got a text from my daughter, who's friends with Grant. Dad, why are you using my friends' profiles in your LinkedIn class? I said, well, why not? He's out there. I'm going to use it. Now, what do you think I think about Mr. Grant's? Anything pop out at you? Come on, you guys are smart. What do you think of his picture? Anybody like his picture? He's trying to get an engineering job. Now, I know engineers don't usually walk around. Yeah, I mean, you don't walk around with suits and ties. Okay, I can buy into that. But what do you think of Grant's picture? First impression, right? Not so good, is it? It's not Facebook. That's what you got to realize on your picture. It is not Facebook. It's meant to be. You saw Jenna's picture? That was a good one. Smiling face, right? Dressed nice. That's it. End of the story. Okay? That's what you got to put up there. That's going to hurt Grant. That's going to hurt Grant. There's no question about it. Because how old do you think Grant's boss is going to be? He's going to be my age or whatever, right? And he's not going to look at it, what? You don't want to lose the game while the beauty contest is just starting, right? And that's what could happen. You don't know where they're going to get off your profile and go, ugh, out of here. These other ones are so much better. That's what people, understand how people do resumes and profile reviews to hire you. They look for reasons to throw you out. Not for reasons to pick you. They got 300, right? So they're looking for ways to go, nope, 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 nope. Not, I think I'll spend a little more time on this one. It's got a crappy picture, but I bet you he's really good. No, it's the law of big numbers, unless they got that phone call that you hope that maybe you could pull off. But when they're just stacking them up, they're looking for reasons to throw you out, and that's one of the reasons you might. Okay? Not a good story. How does that, keywords and stories, that wouldn't be a good story. Okay? I do like some of his other stuff here is okay. I'll show you some better examples. He at least says what he's doing in his headline. So let me take you to one that I think she really does a good job. And she's a student as well. Michelle. Okay, Michelle's going to graduate in December. Nice picture. I love this. This is called your headline. You ought to work hard on your headline. Look where your headline shows up. It's just like a newspaper headline. You've got to write something there that tells the reader exactly what you're trying to do. Well, trying to find a design job in 2012. What are you trying to do? Right? Simple as that. And you can even say, in Milwaukee or in Madison. Just be specific with people. Tell them exactly what you're up to. That's a good headline. Evidently, she'll work anywhere. Or if you have a specific industry you want to be in there, put that in there. Okay? All right, let's scroll down a little further. Nice picture, good headline. Let's look at her summary. Here's what your summary is all about. It's a cup of coffee with somebody, right? If you could really get that couple of minute cup of coffee, what would you tell them? Notice it's in the first person. I like the first person. I, okay? If you're going to get that cup of coffee, what would you tell them? This showed up right below that top box. It's their first introduction. They see your picture, they see a little bit of information, they read your headline, they slide down, boom, there's your summary. Tell them something. Tell them why you're different. Tell them what you're looking for. Okay? Now, so I think she did a nice job on that. She also mentioned that she's been in customer service for a long time. Now, she wants to be an interior designer. Why do you think she did that? Why do you think she talked about, because that's where she's had a lot of experience. So why do you think she listed all that customer service thing? It's just do people like people that have had customer service experience? No matter what department you're in. It's like you guys, I know I'd say, make sure you put down all the jobs you ever had. But Mr. Breitbarth, I worked at McDonald's all the way through high school. I'm not going to put that down, okay? I don't like that job. I don't want to work at McDonald's. Why would you want me to put that job down? You know why? Because me as an employer, I love people that worked at McDonald's. I do. It's the truth. Why do I love people that worked at McDonald's? Because you got paid about $7 an hour. You were the manager in about 6 weeks, and it was hard, stinking work. And people weren't showing up. And if you went there 3 straight summers, you were probably pretty good. And put up with a lot of cranky customers who didn't like their hamburgers. Right? I like that. Means you can probably handle a few little customer issues that you're going to run into as an engineer or as a finance guy. Okay? So she decided to do that. I think it's excellent. I think it's a good job. Even though that's not the job she wants. But let's face it. If she doesn't find an interior design job, which, by the way, the market's pretty bad right now for those, what might she find a job doing, at least for a while? Customer service. She at least tells, I know how to do this too. Okay? So think about all she's doing is telling her stories here. Now look at these here, specialties. What do you think those are? What do you think those are? I heard it, what'd you say? They're keywords, that's all they are. They're keywords. You got to think about laying your keywords in your profile as many places as you can. By the way, this handout is in your online called Keywords. Okay? Your key to being found on LinkedIn. Just thought starters for you on the kinds of keywords you might want to put in your profile. This is a wonderful job she's doing on those keywords. Let's scroll down a little further and see how she used some more keywords. Look at the classes she listed. Oh. She listed her classes. Yes, it's informational, but it's more about the keywords. It's more about making sure that when somebody searches for AutoCAD, and she's got AutoCAD in her profile 6 or 7 times in different spots, and somebody like we look for the HR person from Johnson Controls, they go, AutoCAD, Milwaukee, Coop. Because here's how the search engine works, my friends. The more times you have the word AutoCAD, one of the things that will help you move to the top of the search when they're looking for AutoCAD is you've got the word in there a bunch of times. So that's why using a tool like this will help you. And by the way, I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet so that you guys can sign up to get my email tips every weekend. This is the kind of information I'm going to share with you every weekend about strategies behind LinkedIn. We can start it down here. I just need your name and your email address if you want to start getting those. But this is the kind of stuff, to start being strategic on LinkedIn, you need little worksheets like this. You need to know how LinkedIn works, how the searching works, and then you got to work on things like this. Okay? All right, let's just take a look a little bit at the handout here and talk about your profile. We know it's about keywords and it's about stories. Keywords and stories. Okay. Now, hardly anybody in the room had their profile done 100% as defined by LinkedIn. You got to get that done. I told you that on the front end. And here's why you have to get that done. LinkedIn's research says you'll be 12 times more effective in finding a job if you have the profile done 100%. 12 times. So to me, you go, oh, I'm not going to do it, Wayne. Okay, you really want to find a job? No, yeah, I do want to find a job, but I don't want to do all that stuff. It's not that much. Those people that had it, who said they had their profile done 100%? Was it a big deal? It wasn't a big deal, was it? It's about 8 or 10 things, maybe. And your list will be right here, by the way. It'll show you the things you're missing. You got to get that done. Because it's sort of like a game of Jenga. And you go, no, I don't think I'll put my picture on there. Okay, that's just one little block. No, I'm not going to put those 5 skills on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, crash! Nobody's finding me on LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on. Well, you don't want to be 12 times more effective. You didn't finish your profile. Well, if that's the rule that LinkedIn set in place, follow it. Because that's how you're going to win. So finish your profile 100%. Okay, let's talk about a few other things. Consistently thinking about keywords as you're talking, no matter what section you're working on. Keywords in there, we already talked about that. Look at this. There's a section called Honors and Awards. She's put some out there. I think that's perfect. Those are perfect. Take a look at this. This is a section called Creative Portfolio Display. Place where you can actually put pictures of things that you did. So if you have a project that you worked on, these are differentiators. That's all they are. And there's a good chance that Michelle's competition does not have these things on their profile. Because remember what's happening. Somebody's looking at all these profiles and they're deciding who to call. Just a few things stick out, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to be different. She's got Amazon book list up there. By the way, if you want to have it, put Amazon book list up there, I think that's a great idea. I think it'd be even better if you put my book on your book list. I read Wayne's book. I learned a whole bunch about LinkedIn. Or he came to speak at my college. That'd be great. Thank you. But show good books here in your space, right? Marketing books, finance books, business books. You can put Twilight on there if you want. It's okay. Is it going to help you get a job? No. So you get 2 books that are going to show up on there. We're going to do questions at the end. Be sure to hold on to that, okay? You're going to have 2 books show up there. Make them good business books, right? Because all you're trying to do, it's your brand. You get a couple little branding pops here, a couple things that, oh yeah, I read a lot about marketing. It's what I do. Okay? All right. Next section. This is called box files. It's a place for you to put PDF files, Word files, and Excel files, video and audio right on your profile. Now, Frank, are they still doing anything video-wise? Yeah. A video resume? Perfect. Okay, you're all going to have video resumes right here. Put it in your box files. You think the HR person that sees that you have a video resume, who's trying to decide who the 10 people she's going to make a phone call with, and she looks at your video resume, she pops it on, she watches you on your video resume. That's pretty cool. I wonder how many of the other 300 will have video resumes. Hardly any. Differentiators, right? You're standing out, standing out, standing out, standing out. That's what you got to do. It's a hard game to play right now. You got to stand out, and video is perfect. What else? Well, she's got a resume there. I'd put that there. Load your resume in there. What else could you put in BoxNet files? Other ideas? Anybody have any other ideas what you could put in BoxNet files that could help you? How about letters of recommendation from any jobs that you've had? For sure. Put those in there. So these are all just differentiators. Think about it as you're doing your profile, you're trying to differentiate yourself. Okay, jobs. My recommendation is always put every job you ever had. Really? Why? Because you haven't had very many of them. When I coach people who are in their 50s, maybe I'll let them get away with not their first couple jobs out of college. I still would probably, but you guys even should put your high school jobs because you don't have very much there. And every one of these jobs, notice what you can do. You can get recommendations on every job, can't you? So that job you had last summer that you didn't think was very important in your career, it might not be, but you can get a recommendation from your boss on LinkedIn, differentiator, right? The other thing you can do here is, I'll tell you another story about my daughter, Jenna. 2 summers, she worked at a country club as the food person at the pool. Okay? Schlepping hamburgers out to the kids while their parents were playing golf and tennis. Well, she didn't want to put that on her profile. I'm not putting that on my profile. Dad, I was just serving burgers at the country club. Why would you want me to put that there? I'd say, you know what? Because that was hard stinking work. And the second year you got promoted to the shift manager or something, you can say that on there. And you can tell a little bit of story in each of these jobs. And not only can you tell stories, you can also include, if you can fit it in, some of your most important what? Starts with a K. Keywords. Everywhere you can put those keywords, they're going to help you move up in the search. So when you have this little worksheet in front of you, you'll know where you want to put your keywords and how you're going to work through that. Okay, so I'd put all your jobs. I try to get recommendations from people. Okay, let's talk about this section. This is called skills. You can put skills on your profile, specific skills of things that you know how to do. Now, what do these skills look like? Starts with a K. Keywords. I mean, are you guys sick of keywords on this program or not? Yeah, but it's how it works. And when LinkedIn came out with this section called skills, just about a year and a half ago, they told us, and they don't tell us a lot when it comes to the searching algorithm because they don't want us to figure it out, but they said, we're going to put out a new section called skills. And it's going to really be important in your searching. So you make sure you got a lot of skills in there. Now, something new came out a month ago called endorsements against those skills. And LinkedIn is pushing endorsements like crazy. They're getting 8 million endorsements a day. So you load in skills. You can have up to 50 skills. And then go out and get endorsements if you can get them. Why? Because here's what's going on with endorsements. Endorsements is another way for people to be at the top of a search or the bottom of the search. And endorsements are very similar to something you guys are used to on Facebook, like. Very similar to Facebook like, because you just hit the button, somebody gets one more. Okay? So it's an easy way for you to accumulate little tick marks against the skills that are important, so that if a recruiter or HR person goes, oh my gosh, I like these two people a lot. These are my two best candidates. And one of them has 30 endorsements for the skill, and one of them doesn't even have the skill on their profile. I'll bring her in first. She looks like she's better. Don't know, but that's what we're back to the beauty contest, right? It's ways for them to decide if you're better than the rest of the people they're looking at. Okay? Endorsements, go get them. Still get recommendations. Those are important too. Okay. All right. Let's see what else I can help you with here. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to go to my profile because I want to show you how to get some of these things. A couple years ago, LinkedIn came out with some special sections just for students. And you look at how endorsements pop up right here all the time. Right here, add sections. Add sections is a way for you to put courses, honors, awards, test scores, all that stuff you can now put on your profile. Because students were screaming going, this stuff is just for my dad. I can't put anything on here. 20 years old, help me. So they gave you guys these other sections. So if you have great test scores, even from college, and you were an SAT, whatever, put them on there. Think people like to hire smart people? Yeah, I think they like to hire smart people. I think they like to hire people that are good at right? Well-rounded and in clubs and leadership and all. I get all that. But if you had nice SAT scores that you think were stellar, put them on there. Part of your what? Is it part of your keywords or is it part of your story? What is it? It's part of your story, right? It's part of your story. It's the things you're proud of. If you're the captain of the soccer team, put it on there. It's your story. Not everybody's been the captain of the soccer team at UW-Whitewater. If you were on the football team that went to the national title, I put it on there. Good. Not only is it cool looking, and people see it as leadership, you're on a team, Great conversation starter from this school, right? Football. Everybody knows the school now. It's got, you were on the team that went, yeah, I was. How was that? Oh, that was so much fun. And I led the whatever. Oh, you did? Man, that's cool, right? Differentiators, it's all you're trying. I hope you're getting the feel for your personal brand and the differentiation and all these beautiful sections that LinkedIn has laid out here for you so that you can just scream out to that person, like, I am the stinking best person in that stack. That's what you're trying to get to. Now, some people sit there and they go, Mr. Breitbarth, this story thing, I'm not getting it yet. You're still forgetting that I'm 20. I don't have any stories. Hogwash. You got stories. You think you don't have stories because you're thinking of a profile that's like mine. Am I your competition? 55-year-old business owner? No. Who's your competition? They're sitting right next to you. Your stories have to be better than your neighbors. That's all. So don't think you don't have stories. Your stories are going to be as strong as you decide to make them. So if you taught Sunday school for 3 straight summers and you go, I'm not going to put that down, that was just Sunday school. I'd say, wait, you had to do a curriculum? You had to put up with 14 little runny nose whatevers every Sunday? You did, and you went back for another year and you did that? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think that's the coolest story. You do? Yeah, I think that's a great story. Leadership, organization. That's what they need. See, remember, you won't have a lot of experience to show off, nor will your competition. So what do you got to show off? You got to show off things that are close to the job you're looking for, right? What other things did you do that are close to leadership, organization, multitasking? Right? The skills they're looking for in the new job, you had experiences, leader of the club here. You were in charge of a club at Whitewater. You put the agenda. I did the agenda every time and ran the meetings and blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's pretty cool. You ran the meetings? Yeah. I made sure we got it out on time and we did this and we did that. Okay, good. Just a differentiator, right? Okay, so I'm stopping on profile. Let's make sure you get this. It's all about what? Keywords and stories. Keywords and stories. 100% complete. Use all the tools available so that when people look at your profile, you stick out, right? You stick out. That's what the profile's for. It's meant to be so that if they find you by a keyword or they find you because somebody else says, go look at her profile, I think you'd like her. They land on your profile and they go, yeah. She's got it going on. That's what you're trying to get to, okay? All right, cool. We're going to leave profile. Now, if you want any extra help on your profile, best thing for you to do is think about picking up a copy of my book. Half of the book is about your profile, section by section. I even have a special chapter in there for students. So funny about that student section. I got a bonus chapter in there for students, and I'll never forget my publisher. They said, you can't put that chapter in that book. What? I want to put the chapter in the book. And they said, no, you can't because your audience generally is not students. I said, I know, but I love this chapter and I think it would really help them. Too bad. Pull it. I said, no, let me think about it over the weekend. So all I did was I rewrote the chapter from this standpoint. It's as if your dad hands you the book. It's got the same information for you guys, but it just isn't written to you directly. So and you'll get some great information about some of the specific things that a student needs to think about because it's a little different, right? Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do next. We're going to look at a couple of other features on LinkedIn that I think you got to really be after, starting with this one, jobs. Okay, there's a job section on LinkedIn. Click the jobs. Here's where it takes you. Okay. Once again, we have an advanced search, just like we do for a people search. You click advanced. Let's say you're looking for an accounting job in Milwaukee. See if we have any. 83. Scroll down a little further, refined by. Experience level. Entry level. 9. Let's take a look at them. 9 jobs. for entry-level accounting in Milwaukee. Okay. So you take a look at these and see what you're interested in. And if you're interested, let's look at this job. Here's the detail that shows up on a job. You can apply right from here. You can save this job. You can share it with a friend. You can follow this company. It's called stalking. Okay? You can bookmark this job. But look what else it does for us. Look at what's on the right-hand side. Hello. It basically, here you go. You know some of these people. Gives you all the people right on the right-hand side. Saved you the step. You didn't even have to do the search, did you? Nope. Showed up right there, right at the job, right at your fingertips. Good stuff. Okay, now, here's what I want you to do. Let's go back to our search. Save. See this button? You can save 10 job searches on LinkedIn. This is all free, by the way. And then when you save those searches, they'll look like this. And then you'll get an email every week with new jobs that are posted on LinkedIn that meet your search criteria. Okay? So you can fall asleep and you're going to get an email from LinkedIn. Here's a company that just posted an entry-level accounting job in Milwaukee. You might be interested in it. Okay? So you should go out and use this section and find different words and different areas of the country and all that. That's what you want to do, is just think about ways that you would search for different kinds of jobs. Okay. Next thing I want to show you. Groups. How many people are in LinkedIn groups? Any LinkedIn group? Okay, you're in LinkedIn groups. Tell me the types of groups you're in. Types.
Project manager and IT group.
Because?
It's my major.
Okay, project manager and IT group because it's your major. Perfect, yes.
Green Bay Packers shareholder group.
Green Bay Packers shareholder group. Why? Because you are one.
Right.
He's a Green Bay Packer. Okay, cool, great. That's perfect. So you got an interest in the Packers. You happen to be a shareholder. You're going to hang out with the other shareholders. That's cool. What other kinds of groups? Types?
Previous jobs that I worked for that have groups.
Companies, right? Companies you used to work. It's for alumni of the company, isn't it? So why are you in there?
Just to keep in touch.
Yeah.
In case I want to go back.
Exposure, right? Perfect. What other kinds of groups? Types. Hobbies. There's hobby groups in there beyond the Packers. How about alumni groups? Anybody join the Whitewater Alumni Group? Can they, Frank? Can they join it?
Yes, they can.
They can. Do you want to join the alumni group? Well, that's a no-brainer, friends. You join the Whitewater Alumni Group. Why? Here's why. If I'm an HR director at a company, I'm going to find an entry-level finance guy this year. Entry-level finance guy, Milwaukee area. Steve, guess what? You're going to show up with profile that somebody can look at because you're in the Whitewater group if I'm in the Whitewater group too. Remember, we talked about that on the front end. You want to join all your groups for that exposure, but really important to join where you went to school. Because what you guys don't realize is the importance of that and how alumni will try to help you. And you're thinking to yourself, they won't help me. They don't even know me. They will help you. They will help you. There's something that's going on when somebody goes to a school, spends 4 years in the same bars, in the same halls, in the same situation you were in. If they can give you some help, they're going to do it. That's why I'm back to that Johnson Controls thing. Here's a tool that you can use. I want to make sure I don't forget this. It's called alumni. Let's look at the Whitewater group. Let's look at the Whitewater. Now, this is not the group. This is searching all of the people that went to Whitewater. The 4 years I was there, there's 2,400 people. Look what it gives me. Where they live, where they work, what they do. So if I click on here, see more, if I open this box up here, and I'm interested in a job at Rockwell, let's say. 7 people went to Whitewater the 4 years I was here, and here's the department saying, well, let's say we go to finance, we'll pick Steve's department. 3 people, and here they are. Okay, now, You just applied for that job, Steve. Entry-level finance at Rockwell. Didn't know anybody there. Gonna do anything with these three dudes? What?
Talk to John.
How are you gonna do it?
Find your connection.
You could do that, right? Yeah. He's a second. You're right, Steve. Very good. Steve's gonna find out who your first is, right? But look what LinkedIn does here. See these buttons? You're gonna try to connect with John? I try my friend first, right? Steve's right. Hit your friend up first. But then, what's wrong with writing to John and saying, John, love to connect with you. I'm a Whitewater student. I just applied at Rockwell. I'm trying to meet people at Rockwell. What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen, Steve? No! And they won't even tell you, will they? They just won't answer. That hurt your feelings, Steve? Feel bad about that? They'll cry in the corner, oh, I didn't answer my thing. Don't worry about it. You got to be aggressive. There's nothing wrong with that. You send a nice invitation to John saying, I'm going to graduate in 12. I see you graduated in 79. I'd love to work at Rockwell. I hope we get a chance to meet someday. In the meantime, would you like to connect with me on LinkedIn? Or how about this one? Write this down. I'd be honored to have you join my network. Use the word honor. That sounds so nice, doesn't it? Yeah. And all of a sudden, you got Mr. John at the first degree. What did you just get? A whole bunch of second degrees, didn't you? Probably. And probably in his department. It's a great tool. Call alumni. Check it out after you've looked for a job or even before you've looked for a job and see who's in here and see who you can reach out to. The other thing is this. Let's go back to the search. Let's go back to this alumni. Say I'm going to do this Whitewater thing again. Let's say you just want to do this. I'm just going to look at all the alumni from Chicago. It's 272. Oops. It's 272. You can look at every single one of them. But then you say, okay, but I'm going to get a finance job in the Chicagoland area. You can look at all 27 alumni that are currently in the finance area in Chicagoland. And what are you going to do with them? Look at the seconds that come up, but also you got a chance to connect with some of these people that you think are very targeted. Go ahead and do it. What's the worst thing that can happen to you? Nothing. If you say it nicely and you tell them what you're trying to accomplish and you're from good old Warhawk, come on, right? When you get up here and do what I'm doing in your 50s, believe me, you're going to want to help you guys. You just do. I know it sounds weird. It's not weird. It's what you do when you start to get a little older. You want to help people. I mean, it comes to this point in your life, you want to help other people if you can. And a lot of people will do that for you. Okay, that's the alumni function. I think you'll love that. Okay. Let's go to the home page. Talk about a couple of other features. Look at the feature up in the top right. People you may know. Looks just like Facebook, right? Facebook has that too. Anybody use that on Facebook? Yeah, I use it. Good place to find people, right? Well, don't forget, it's even more important for you guys in LinkedIn because of what? It's the gas in the tank. I'll tell you what, if I were you, I was just starting on LinkedIn. I'd spend this Sunday's Packer game. It's your laptop in front of you. And I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and looking for people that you know. Because every first brings you what? Seconds and thirds, seconds and thirds. That's how you're going to get your 100. I'd love to get a little note from you. Say, Wayne, I got to 100 in 2 weeks. How'd you get to 100? I used people you may know. It threw more people up at me. It was unbelievable. Give you that nice little tool to do that. It's a good, great tool for you. You'll find lots of people. Because just like Facebook's, it just figures out who's a second, who went to Whitewater, all that kind of stuff, right? Who knows how they do it? It's just their secret sauce. But they're helping you try to put gas in the tank. Okay, go back to the home page. Anybody ever look at this little section over here? Who's viewed your profile? Anybody look at that? You have? Why?
Just out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity. Why have you done it? Curiosity. So you think to yourself, it's interesting, right? It's more than interesting. More than interesting. First off, remember this. Let's go back to the home page again. Oops. If somebody's over here, first it's sort of amazing they're looking at your profile, right? It's amazing they're looking at your profile because you think they got nothing better to do? No. They're looking at your profile because one or two things happens normally. Either you had the right keywords, you had marketing, Whitewater grad, and you popped up, and they clicked your profile, or somebody said, go check him out, he should be really good. Okay, I'll tell you a story, another story, sort of in the same space. Young guy comes up to me at a convention in Rockford, Illinois. And he says, Wayne, I got my job because of your book. And I said, I could tell he'd been out of school a year or two. I said, really, what'd you do? He said, well, I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer for a company in South Carolina. And so how'd you get your job? He said, well, what I did was I put keywords like you said. I said, what'd you put in there? Oh, of course I put electrical engineer. But this company loves to hire from our school. They know they have great electrical engineers. And I said, what else? He said, but I also wanted to work with a company that had international offices all over. I said, how'd you get that done? He said, well, I made sure that I highlighted I studied abroad and that I have an interest in international things. I'm in an international club. The word international showed up on his profile a whole bunch of times. So the recruiter or the HR person searched electrical engineer from the certain school plus the word international. Okay? So that's how people are going to land on your profile. So it's more than interesting if you find out that you just applied for a job at a place, okay? And all of a sudden you look at, and you should be looking at this all the time once you start applying, and you see that the HR director at a company that you just applied for checked you out, stalked you. What are you going to do with that? Anybody going to do anything with it, or just going to sit back and go, that was interesting? I think that was really interesting. Anybody can do something besides that?
Contact them.
How?
Can you send them a message? Yeah.
Well, it depends, right? If they're first degree, send a message, right? If they're second degree, you can do that, right? You can do it?
Sure.
Yeah! Now, I know HR directors that would not connect with you. But if your message is written in such a way, hi, I saw you were checking me out. I checked you out. I just applied for a job at your company. He knows that. That's why he's on your profile. Even if they don't decide to connect, what did it tell them about you?
You're paying attention.
You're paying attention. What else did it tell them about you? What else? You're paying attention. That's good. You use all the tools that are available in the business marketplace. You're probably better at LinkedIn than half of their staff. What else does it tell you, though, about you as a person? You're what? Yeah, you're assertive. Do companies like assertive, or they go, oh, no, not too many assertive people this year. We're way maxed out on those. They like assertive, don't they? They love assertive because you're going to be assertive in your job, too. The other thing that HR directors are looking for, and I can promise you this because they tell me, is they look and see how many connections you have. All things being equal. All things being equal, which life's never that simple, but let's assume that for a minute. You got 20 connections? Your competitor has 250. Who are you going to hire? All things being equal. Who are you going to hire, 20 or 250? How many say 250? Yeah, you're going to take the 250. Why? You know more people. You're probably aggressive. You're probably a networker. You like to hang out with people. All those things are things that I don't care what job it is, they want that. And you know how to use LinkedIn. That's sort of good too, no matter what job. Especially if it's a sales job. If it's a sales job and you got 15 connections and you're interviewing for it, forget it. That's one of the criteria. They're going to say, he's trying to be a sales guy, he's got 15 connections on LinkedIn. Are you kidding me? He doesn't even like people, I guess. That's what they're doing. I'm telling you, I'm talking to these recruiters and HR people all the time. They're just, because they don't want to call all 300, do they? They want to decide, throwing people out, who's left in the pile. Okay? So be looking at that. Now here's the thing you should do on this little section here. You have to go in and change your setting. This is how you get into settings. There's lots of settings you might want to take a look at. The one I'm speaking of is this. Select what others see when you viewed their profile. Okay, so this is, I want you now, when you are out stalking. So let's say you did apply for that job at Johnson Controls, and you found that lady that we looked at in the first search, and you clicked on her profile. You'll show up on her stalking list, won't you? Yeah. Now, how do you want to show up on her stalking list? Do you want your picture and your name and your nice headline? Or do you want to be something in between, a little bit of information for your profile? Or do you want to be anonymous? What do you think? Who wants to be anonymous? Good. Who wants to be in the middle? Good. Who wants to be the first one? You bet. Why? It's your brand. Smiling little face, nice headline. I am stalking you because I am interested in your company. You have my resume sitting there. I hope you're going to pull it out now because look how aggressive I am. That's what she's thinking, right? You don't get a chance to tell her that, but that's what she's thinking. She's going, this guy's all over it. You stand out. One more time, your name pops. She's down to 10 now. And she goes, only one person even looked at my profile out of those 10 people. Huh, I like that. I think that's good. They'll like that. They'll like the fact that you're doing homework. So let me ask you this. Are you going to ever go into an interview without knowing exactly who you're going to interview with that day? Always ask. So who's going to be in the room with me or with you? Oh, my assistant will be in there too. And her name is? Thank you. Now, what are you going to do with that information? Two people are going to interview you. Maybe on the phone, maybe in person. What are you going to do now that you know how to use LinkedIn? Look at their what? Profiles. What are you going to look for in their profile? What are you looking for in their profile before you sit down with that interview? Something that you can talk to them about. Something that you're thinking intelligently to go, I'm not going into this interview cold turkey. I'm going to figure out something that I can read on somebody's profile and go, I'm going to bring up the fact that he played football. I could see he played football. So did I. Guess what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about football before I leave that office. It's sort of like being a politician. You're going to decide what the agenda is going to be a little bit. And I want you to do that because it'll show you, because they're going to ask you, what do you know about our company? Did you do any research? And you go, I not only did research on your company, sir, I did research on you. How was it going to Berkeley? Right? Once again, you're just showing them. The other people that are coming in the door aren't going to be that prepared. And you're going to walk in and go, I know what you're all about. I looked at your stinking profile. I know where you went to high school. I know what your favorite nonprofit is. It's right here. You like Make a Difference Wisconsin. You do financial literacy for inner city kids. Like that? You want to get a business person excited in an interview. Ask them about their favorite nonprofit. They will go off for 10 minutes because they love their favorite nonprofit. And most of us will list that on our profile. Okay? So you go into that interview already with all the stuff you're going to talk about. Because one of the things I also know about when you guys go into an interview, if you can control the interview just a little bit, maybe it's even on the phone, with a few things that you want to talk about, you will show more passion. You won't be as nervous. And so you got to think about a couple things you're going to make sure you try to connect with that person and take the conversation the way you want it to go so that when you get that opportunity, you start talking about football. Because you know, when you talk about football, your voice raises, you sound like me, right? And you start getting excited and they see passion. Think they want passion in their employees? Oh no, no passion today, please. We're all full of those too. Aggressiveness and passion, we've got plenty around here. No, they want passion. And even if it's not exactly about their job yet, because you don't work there, you're showing that you can be passionate about something. And the information you're going to gain on their profile allows you to go into there and maybe intelligently control that conversation, right? And take it a direction where you know when you talk about this, you get excited. You know you start to talk passionately about this stuff. And then maybe bring up a few of the things you did in that job when you got excited that would relate to what their job is for hiring you. Okay, cool. Let's look at a couple of more features that you might miss on LinkedIn. Okay, this box right here. This box here is called status updates. Status updates is your ability to send out information to who? Who gets your status updates? Anybody know on LinkedIn? Anybody know? They go to everybody in the whole 187 million? No? They go to your connections. They go to your connections. Okay? So here's the story. Let's say you want to work at Johnson Controls, and you start connecting with a few Whitewater alums there. They accept. And you start sharing information, status updates. Now, status updates on LinkedIn are not like Facebook and not like Twitter. We don't talk about our dog. We don't talk about our vacation. We don't talk about what we ate. Talk about business stuff. You want to show you're intelligent. You're thinking about business. You're interested in reading things. You watch this video. That's what you're sharing. So what the point is, you start sharing good information with people that from Johnson Controls start reading about what you're sharing. They'll think you're smart. And that's how you're going to sort of get in front of them on a consistent basis. So what should you do? You should try to do a status update every few days about something you read or something you watched or something that makes sense of your expertise or where you want to try to find a job or about a company you're interested in or an interview you had or the fact that you came here and heard this. It's really just a matter of exposure. It's you getting your smiling face out in front of a bunch of people, sort of reminding them, hey, I'm still here, looking for a job if you hear of anything. Now, you don't say that, but when somebody scrolls over your name and you've got the right headline that says you're looking for a job, it pops up. So I recommend you do status updates. They're your best exposure with the people that you've now had join your network. Okay, one more thing I forgot to talk about. It was companies. There's a special section on LinkedIn called companies. So let's say we were interested in Johnson Controls. Click that on. Here's the company page for Johnson Controls. What do you get to see? You get to see status updates from the company. You could click here and look at the people that are on LinkedIn. There's almost 30,000. You can look at jobs that are posted. Look at their careers tab. Here's the jobs that are posted on all the jobs that Johnson Controls has posted. You can look at products and services that they have. Let's go back to the homepage of Johnson Controls. But here's what I want you guys to do, for sure. Any company you want to work for. See that button right there? Stalking. Once you click that follow button, then you will get Johnson Controls feed for jobs they have posted, products they've changed, status updates they put out, events that they're having. Go do that for all the companies you're interested in working for. Now, another story. smaller companies that don't have 80,000 followers will look at their followers and see if anybody in there they want to hire. I had a lady call me 3 weeks after I told the class, follow every company you want to work for. So she called me about 3 weeks after that and said, Wayne, I got my job. It worked just perfectly. I said, what worked perfectly? She said, I followed 12 companies, just like you said, all the 12 I wanted to work for. She was a sales lady. And I said, then what happened? And she said, but then I get a phone call. And the phone call goes like this. This is the HR person from the company. Why are you following us? And she said, because I want to work for you. And the HR person says, I love your profile, get in here. Done. Because when I teach HR directors, I say, go look at your followers from time to time because there's lots of job seekers in there who are dying to work for your company. Look at their profiles. They're following you because they're interested in your company. Okay, cool. Okay, here's what I want to do. Just a couple of housekeeping things and we can do some questions. Housekeeping. Number one, be sure to sign up for my tips if you'd like to get there. I have business cards up here. I have books if you'd like a book. Okay, anybody have any questions as we wrap up? I tell you what, yeah, good, yeah, you had a question, perfect.
Ideally, what I would like to do is either work for a professional sports team or be like help professional athletes so they don't go broke, like be like a financial guidance to them. Would it be okay, like let's say an ex-athlete, for example, so I would prefer working with the NBA or basketball players. So on LinkedIn I saw George Gervin, Rick Fox. Would it be okay if you write to them and say, do you have to say I'm a fan and I want to work with the NBA, or is it more that you really don't know them personally? It would be a bit awkward.
I think with the downside only being they say no or don't connect, I would appeal to them the way you would think they'd want to be appealed to. I'm a big fan of yours, hoping to get a job in sports business related. I'd be honored if you'd connect with me, right? That's all you can do. All you can do is try. You'll be surprised. Number one, their LinkedIn account are probably run by their assistant. Number two, they're probably in the business of connecting with a lot of people because it accomplishes what they're trying to accomplish. I'd try it. What do you got to lose? But I'd also just search sports business management and find people in Milwaukee that are in that space. And maybe not just pros, but college as well.
And then one more thing, just recently talking to a family friend who used to work some Foot Locker, knew some people work in the National Basketball Association. I got connected through them, sent an email, my resume and information. They said they sent my stuff to the guy who's in charge of internship with the NBA. The guy who's in charge of internship, should I look him up on LinkedIn or write him a letter introducing myself, or should I wait till he comes and responds?
I would look him up on LinkedIn, see if you have a connection that knows him. If you don't, try to send him a message. Say, I applied. Just wanted to let you know I'm very interested. Looked at your profile. Hope we can connect.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Have fun, you guys. Connect with me. I'd love that. Frank's got one more thing.
Folks, real quick before you all take off, how about a nice round of applause for Wayne and the students?
Thank you.
Thanks, Xavier.